If you're planning to run the business alone, that's fine, but depending on how big the business is and how fast you want it to grow will depend on your team and how productive you can be. I created a chart with all possible tasks an e-commerce business should have. Some have less priority than others, but when I ran my multi-million-dollar business, I had all of these covered. I'm not going to get into what each task does. You can visit the link below, the bit.ly/e-commerce operation, to learn more about this, but basically you have the owner, you have the accountant, you have the customer service, you have the sales staff, you have the webmaster that is in charge of actual website tasks, and you have the marketing guy who's responsible for anything related to marketing. In the beginning, if you're running the whole thing alone, obviously you will be all of these, but if you take on the business that already has traffic and sales and so on, then you should be prepared on who's going to handle what tasks once you take this business over. If you are going to operate the customer service and the sales side of the business, then you may see yourself lacking the webmaster and marketing side of the business, which is directly responsible for the growth of the business. So let's say if you're doing it alone and the business needs to grow and you see the opportunity to grow it, but if you don't actually have a person responsible for growing it, it'll basically stay the same as it was last year. There are a few tweaks that you can do to improve it. One of them, go in Shopping Cart Elite. The other one is step 3, which is your sales funnel, to improve that. Whatever, shortcuts you can do, such as submitting to Google Shopping and the Find and eBay and Amazon possibly. But all of those are shortcuts which could potentially double or triple the revenue. But still, even though they're shortcuts, somebody still needs to be in charge of them. You still need to have time. Just a heads up to be prepared for all of these different tasks. Here are some tips for startups. Now, if you're just buying a business, even though the seller might have a lot more expenses than you will, they might have overhead for rent and electricity, which is commercial fees, and more phone lines and this and that. Anyway, this is what you should expect if you're starting it alone, and you can just add on to these rates on whoever else you might have joining you, such as an employee or office overhead and so on. So you have Payleap to accept your credit cards. There is a link to get a discounted rate for it. Skype phone line, it's very inexpensive, and because it's voice over IP, you don't end up getting taxed by the state and city and so on. RingCentral, if you want to have a toll-free number, I have a link to go on my reseller account, which will be about $20 cheaper than what you would pay RingCentral directly. It's a little bit cheaper just offhand, but they also charge you taxes. We don't. We cover the taxes ourselves. You have the PayPal Express checkout, which is free. You have the live chat, which is $10 per month. And you have the e-commerce shopping cart, which, again, if you're going to stay with the one you're going to buy the business with, then whatever they cost. If you're going to go with Shopping Cart Elite, it could be anywhere from $100 and up, depending on what you need from bandwidth-wise and feature-wise.